This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
and it's live.
Good afternoon, fellow Fox fans. Well, what's going on? Have we got players on the naughty step just before possibly the biggest game of the season? It's a 6-pointer. Oh, it's all going. I don't know whether that worked or not. It's all going wrong. Good afternoon. It's Sunday. It's game day. It's Leicester City versus West Ham. 6th versus 3rd. All things changed yesterday. Special offer for you guys. I don't know if you've seen this book or not, Minding My Own Football Business. It's written by the first chief executive ever of Leicester City Football Club. And it's all about football. And Richard will be included in this. The 90s and Barry Pierpoint there. Honestly, it's an amazing read. You think you know the guy, you think you know what went on, you don't. And at the moment, you can get 30% off April only by going to the website as shown there, www.mindingmyownfootballbusiness.com. I tell you what, let's bring him in and see if he does remember those times. Good evening, Richard.
Oh, good afternoon,
Good evening,
Chris.
good afternoon, I should say.
Yeah, good afternoon, mate.
Good afternoon as well.
Might get ahead of ourselves.
You'll remember those times, won't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had a bit of an input with that book as well. I was very pleased to be able to contribute towards it. Yeah, so fond memories of them years.
It's a great read, if I say 30% off at the moment on the website. Let's bring our other chat colleague in today, Pete. Good afternoon, Pete.
Good afternoon, Chris. Richard.
Right, let's do the elephant in the room first of all. No Maddison, no Perez, no Choudhury. Pete, have you heard these rumours that they've been naughty breaking COVID lockdown?
I have. I saw it just before the team news was announced, and quite a few people were just thinking it was just something to stir up the team just before, obviously, a big game. But seeing as they're not in a team, the rumours are looking to be a bit true, aren't they?
Well, I mean, you would think so, wouldn't you, Richard? I mean, Choudhury, he hasn't been around, the squad for a while now, so maybe that is the one that you wouldn't expect. Perez started the last game. Maddison came on. You'd expect them to be at least on the substitutes bench. So there's got to be some sort of truth in the rumours, have there not?
Yeah, there's got to be something going on, hasn't there? Yeah, like you say, yeah, definitely Perez and Maddison would have been involved in some capacity today, I'd have thought. So, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing to see that, but, that's what the squad's for. Yeah, we've still got enough for today, I'm sure.
I mean, Richard, as an ex-player, and you're probably going to regret being on this show after that. I bet before you come on the show, you look at the news and think, right, what's he going to drop me in with it? What's going to go wrong today? But as a player, you know, would you, if you were in that squad, feel let down by them?
Yeah, I mean, if the rumours are true, yes, absolutely. You would. You'd like to think that we're all pulling in the same direction at this stage of the season, for sure. Crucial game, as you pointed out. I mean, I don't like to speculate too much because we don't know the full details of this. But if it is true, then yeah, the rest of the squad will be, not very happy with them. Let's say that.
No, I mean, we must reiterate at this point that there are rumours. Appears not to, at them just before I came on, been picked up by any of the sort of the big boys like BBC, Sky, etc. It is just sort of social media at the moment. But Peter, if it, as Richard said, allowing for the fact that it's rumours, are those, says Choudhury, no disrespect to him, he's not been in the squad for a while. So Maddison and Perez, big losses if it's true?
For this game, definitely. Because obviously Maddison came back against Man City and he did look a little bit rusty and needs a bit more match fitness. But it is a big disappointment, not just for them as individuals, but as a whole team as a whole.
Yes. I mean, we've played the last few games without them. I mean, they both sort of suffered injuries, Richard. Like you said, we've got the squad there. It's not totally the end of the world, is it?
No, not at all today. They've both been on the fringes, haven't they? You know, Maddison's been out for a while, so the squad that we've got and the players that have been in those positions up to this particular point have got us where we are. So, you know, let's be positive about it. Not much is going to change on the first 11, is it? Initially, from the last few games. So,
no,
I don't think we need to reflect too deeply on that, and I don't think it'll have an effect on the players' performances, especially today.
No, like I say, it is all rumours, and we don't want to sort of hang the guys before before we know they could have just been tested positive. You know, in this day and age, you just don't know what's going on, and obviously with social media. But we will wait to find out. Peter, I mean, I've done this. It is a 6 point, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely, and especially going into the next 4 games as well after this, where we really should be getting 12 points from 12. If we can get like 15 from these 5 before going up to the last 3 games of the season, which look quite challenging, then it'll do us a lot of good, especially for getting the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, Richard, I mean, you know, looking at the table, and we're going to come on to the squad itself in a second. West Ham, if they win today, I mean, they've dropped out the top 4 after last night's games, but it's so tight. And I don't know, I mean, we did mention this the other day that last season we had the big gap and we sort of slowly saw it dwindle away, and that was frustrating. But I don't know whether I prefer that or the fact that it's as tight as it is now. I mean, if West Ham beat us, they're literally a point behind us. It's, as I like to say, squeaky bum time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the pressure's on. But you know, we did speak about this the other day, and I do feel like, you know, experience in these situations is you can't buy that. So we were in this situation last year, and we did have a bit of a gap to play with, and we fell away badly. But these players, they were desperate for that not to happen again. So that would be psychological. I'll be playing on their minds. West Ham, it's a bit of a new position for them at this time of year. So, you know, who knows how they're going to deal with it. Obviously, Chelsea, they're making, you know, the right steps at the right time of the season, aren't they? They're starting to produce some performances now, apart from the Sheffield United, the West Brom game last week. But, experience. I think the players will just take on board what happened last year, and hopefully they can react in a positive way to see them through this year. A bit more sustainability, I guess.
as Gaming said there, Peter, we do need this win today, but you just don't know this season. As Richard just mentioned there, who'd have said West Brom would have gone and beaten Chelsea the way they did? And, I think when you look at the first game and, they beat us easily in the first game between us, and maybe we weren't expecting the West Ham that we've seen this year, because obviously the previous year and recent years they've always struggled. And when we looked at that and go, where the hell did that come from? As the season's panned out, they probably deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, they do deserve it. They've played some good football, but there's no reason why we can't win this one today. We can beat any team on our day. So we just need to go into it like any other game. Like, it is important. We know that. The players will know that, and they know what's on the line.
Well, let's bring the team up. The bench is a little bit on the Bear side, but looking at that, Richard, what sort of formation do you think he's going to go for? We've got Schmeichel in goal. I'm guessing possibly a back three: Amati, Evans, and Fofana, with Ricardo and Pratt. Nice to see Pratt back. I think Pratt's really underrated. Tielemans, Ndidi, Castagna as well, and Inacho Vardy. Do you think it's going to be a 3-5-2?
Yeah, I think it speaks for itself, doesn't it, with the personnel there? I think, Amati, Fofana, and Evans with the three at the back, and then Ricardo and Castagna pushing forward. So indeed, he'll just sit, I guess, his normal role. He'll dominate that position as he always does. And we've still got plenty going forward. Ricardo's, he's coming back into it now, isn't he? His fitness is improving game on game, and we know he can get forward and contribute. Castagna likewise, the other side. We've got enough going forward within Inacho and Vardy as well. So there's goals there for us. It is a little bit more conservative than what we spoke about during the week when Craig predicted his team. But I think
I wasn't going to mention that, Richard. I have actually got the graphic, but in fairness to him, he didn't expect Perez and Maddison
of course not.
to go out.
No, but also, I also think that having a Marty in there as well it's going to give us that aerial contribution, because West Ham set pieces are particularly strong this year, so that's going to help us as well.
Yeah, Pete. I mentioned it then. I mean, I like Pratt as a player, and you look at and say, well, okay, we've not got Maddison for whatever reason, but Pratt is, to me, more than an able deputy, and I think he's really underrated.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one as well. I feel like we did miss him when he was injured, and then he can pick out a good pass. Like, we remember that one which he did, which opened up the whole of that Brentford team last season, and I'm not disappointed with him coming in for Maddison too much, really. I feel like he'll be a good game changer today, really.
Yeah. Rich from Rich Sports, good afternoon. Nice to have you along. The Man United fan there wants a draw. You always want a draw, Richard, And then looking back, you'd have taken a draw in the FA Cup, I would imagine, and gone to extra time and penalties. But hey ho, we'll do our best to disappoint you, I am sure. There's some up and coming names on the bench, Richard. There, Lachlan Onion said there, all the way from Australia. Good afternoon, Lachlan. Thanks for joining us. Don't know what time it is there. Probably about 5 a.m. or something. Wouldn't mind seeing Tavares getting a run out off the bench. He seemed promising. You've got some good name, young names, not experienced bench. Yes, we've got Albrighton. Yes, we've got Fuchs, but youngsters that are coming through and have stood up and counted the numbers for us earlier in the season. Yeah,
it's always encouraging, isn't it, when Brendan's given these young players the experience of being around the first team squad on the bench and introducing them maybe the latter stages of the games. It's all positive for the club, and it's great to see some young Unlike's been given the opportunity now, albeit with you know, a few players out here and there. But that's what happens. So when they're given their chance, they've got to take it. And yeah, I mean, like Luke Thomas last year, earlier in the season, sorry, he was, you know, he almost cemented his place there, didn't he? At times, some of his performances were quality. Whether he could sustain that for the full season, probably not. But again, that's just experience, and he's gained that.
I mean, Pete, you know, you looking at that. You think we've got enough there to get a result today?
Especially in the starting 11, we definitely do. Looking at the bench as well, obviously there isn't too much experience, is what we were just saying. But those young lads will be wanting to make a point. They'll want to prove something to get into that starting 11, hopefully ready for next season, especially with like Leicester and Tavares. They've played a bit this season as well already, and then they did look good on the ball. So I'm not too worried.
Brendan, I've just promoted you there, Richard. Richard, do you think? Hey, come back at the end of the game if we've got stuff. I might want you to be promoted. Looking at Brendan. I mean, I know we don't know what's on behind the scenes. Do you think he comes across as a tough disciplinarian, or I mean, they were talking on Sky earlier about Tottenham. Surprise, surprise, and Jose Mourinho, and they were saying that maybe those sort of managers, you know, that like to sort of shout and pin people to the wall are pretty much dinosaurs these days, and you can't get away with it. If this is true, and like you say, you know, players have got the chance because the players have been dropped for whatever reason, how do you think he will handle it?
For one, I mean, it's always going to be internal, isn't it? You know, Brendan doesn't seem the type of manager to expose you in front of the media. He'll always protect his players the best he can, and I think that's a sign of good man management. Whereas Mourinho's a little bit different. He kind of singles players out at times, and I think that's Brendan's strength is his man management and how he conducts himself with his players. And if they have stepped out of line, then yes, he will punish them. He most definitely will punish them. And I think the players do know where they stand with that. But as far as it's difficult, isn't it? Because we don't always fully understand the circumstances and the reasons behind it. You only get the speculation, but unless the managers come out and express that. But from what I can see from the outside, I think his man management skills is up there with the best, to be fair. He does get the best out of his players. And you can tell that sometimes on the pitch, you know, most of the time. They have the respect of the manager, which is the most important thing.
It's what I call the old parental touch. It's like you don't tell the children off, you just tell them you're very, very disappointed in them.
There's ways of talking to people, isn't there? Yeah, there's ways of talking to people in any walk of life. You know, whatever you're talking about, there's ways of expressing how you feel about people. And Brendan's good at that. You know, he'll put his arm around players, or he'll give them a rocket up the bum. You know.
Yeah, Pete was smiling there as if he's been told that a few times of his parents. I don't know, but Pete,
I've heard that
we're looking at. I mean, the West Ham have got their team out. BBC have got them going as a 4-2-3-1. Bowen up front because they've got their own players out and injury problems. Lingard is in there. He's going to have to be one to watch, isn't he? A Noble in that, you know, defensive mid too. But Lingard's going to be one of the main threats, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And Brendan will have pointed that out and will be well aware of it. I can trust Fofana and Ndidi to cover him and everything. They'll be missing Declan Rice, definitely. So obviously, like you said, they have got their own troubles. And obviously, we've got our own threats out there as well, with players in good form too.
You can almost see this ending up being a sort of a boring 0-0, can't you? After we're building it up to be this great game that everybody's out. Richard, we talked about this on Tuesday, so I apologise for sort of going over sort of the old ground again. But going into this game, I mean, Leicester there, we had the loss to Man City, but we kind of, giving that as a free hit almost. That said, Leeds didn't take it as a free hit, and Leeds were able to do what we didn't do, even with 10 men. So it's just a weird season all round. But we Arsenal we lost to, but we've got to look. We're winning more than we're losing, and we're going into this game. We've got to have a bit of confidence, surely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we've held our own for all this time again, haven't we? We're 30 games in, and we're sitting where we are in a great position. The squad's slowly getting back together, full fitness for key players. So you've got to be really pleased with where we are. But again, we all know what happened last year, so let's be mindful of that and continue the performances that they've been doing week in, week out. We're not getting turned over by anybody when we lose. We're grinding out the results if we need to. Even if we're not playing great, we'll nick a goal here and there, and we know we can defend when we need to. So I think a draw wouldn't be the end of the world. It would not be the end of the world, but that's obviously not what we want. But looking at the games that we've got coming after West Ham, a point today, and then we win the next three or four, then that leaves us pretty again for the last 3 games, doesn't it? So, I'm not going to say, I don't think it'll be a draw, but it won't be the end of the world.
No. Lackland's just said if he's getting the news early in Australia, that could be the time difference. But apparently Brendan Rodgers has just come out and said the trio not available this week will join the group next week and be available for the FA Cup. And like you say, I think with Brendan, you get in what we would expect there. He's not washing his dirty laundry out in public, and he's keeping it sort of internal, which fair enough. Fair, you got to respect the guy for that. Pete, like you said earlier, we've got some what we would like to call easier games coming up, but that pack is almost like sort of an accident on the motorway, then the car's building up behind you. Liverpool have coming back from nowhere. Chelsea, since the new manager, have turned it around with the odd blip. Looking over our shoulder, it's like seeing a big truck coming towards you, isn't it? It's they are sort of gunning us down. Yeah,
I mean, with Chelsea, obviously, they have got like Tuchel doing a good job over there, but we can beat them. West Brom beat them, and we do face them again later this season, and that will be another big game, I think, especially if we win these next 4 games after West Ham as well. Like, those last 3 games are probably more important as well, just because they'll send a good message to the rest of the league.
Warren, and we seem to have more on tonight from Australia than we do from the UK. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is over there in Adelaide, Warren. And it can be evening on one side of Australia and morning on the other over there. Again, he's saying how disappointed he is with the players. I think that's the thing that's coming over. And, Facebook user, I'm laughing at the post that you've just posted. I'm not going to put it up, but it is funny, but a little bit libelous, so I can't actually stand up. Guys, though, let's be honest with you. I mean, as nervous as I am now about this game, because it is probably one of the biggest games. I'll come to you with this, Richard. It is one of the biggest games of the season, points-wise. This time next week, I'm going to have no fingernails left. It's the big one next week, isn't it?
Well, it is, yeah. I mean,
with the FA Cup, yes.
Yeah, you put the league aside, don't you? Then, and then you just focus solely on that day. So yeah, it's a massive game for the club. Shame we can't be there. Obviously, we're all going to miss that. But yeah, it's a great opportunity, and I don't think the guys are going to let us down. They'll just give it everything, I'm sure.
Yeah. Justin, apparently it's you. Might have known it was you, Justin, with comments like that. Right, guys. Let's go to the big question that we always finish these pre-shows with, and thank you both for coming along. we're going to go for prediction. Richard, I guess you've not changed from the other day, but just to remind people here, Walshy and Marshy went for 2-2. Linux is old. Let's go for the one that I'm wrong, because I'm always wrong and it'll go the other way. Has gone for a 2-0 to West Ham. I've gone 2-1 to Leicester. Richard, the other night you went with 3-1. Are you sticking with that?
No, I'm going to go with 2-1 because I went with Craig's team. If we played Craig's starting lineup, I'd have said 3-1.
Yeah.
But Maddison's out, obviously.
You did indeed. I remember that.
So
yes.
I'll stick with my 2-1. A bit more conservative.
Yeah, you see, if I get it wrong now, I can say, well, ex-players agree with me. I can't. Pete, what are you going to go for? How confident are you?
I want to say 2-0 because I want a clean sheet, but I'm going to have to agree with you guys and say 2-1.
Popular choice, isn't it? 2-1 today.
It is a popular choice. Yeah. And to be honest with you guys, I've got to be honest with you, looking at it the other way, you're right to go with me because one of us is 6 points clear at the top of the prediction league, not mentioning any names as to who that might be, of course. But I have to get it in. I have to get it in every week. It's in my contract, Pete, Richard, thank you so much for joining us. A bit of a disappointing day with the news that appears to be coming out of the stadium, but like you say, we've been in worse positions than this season with players that have been out, and we've still managed to come through. So thanks very much, guys. Hey, let's hope we're all right, and it's at least a 2-1, and fingers crossed, and we'll speak to you both soon. Thanks very much.
Take care.
Thanks, Pete. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, Richard. Thanks much, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Chris. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, thanks to both there. Richard, the ex-Fox, and Peter. Let's just call him a young fox, shall we? I suppose that makes me an old fox, But, we're getting close. It's going to be interesting. You're looking at the players that allegedly are out and for the alleged reasons that they are, and like I've just said, we have been in a lot worse positions. We really, really have. And we've come through this season as well. We've done this and been there, seen it, still managed to come out. So maybe it will just make the rest of the lads go say, right, come on, let's do this. As they say, fearless foxes. Thanks for watching. We're on YouTube at Leicester Till I Die TV. Please give us a subscribe. And if you subscribe, come into the post-match show, make a comment via your YouTube account. You can win one of the wooden framed King Power pictures. We're giving one away to one lucky subscriber, but you must be subscribed to Leicester Till I Die TV, and you must comment on the post-match show via your YouTube account, and you'll go into the draw. If you want to listen to us on podcast while you're fixing the car, doing the washing up, mowing the lawn, Anchor, Google, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and of course the new one, Amazon Music. We are all over it. And don't forget, guys, Barry Pierpoint, first ever chief executive of Leicester City, had a bit of a reputation at the end before he left. Tell you what, speak to him. He's coming on the show in a few weeks' time. We're going to have one of these books to give away free of charge then as well when he's on. It's an amazing read. If you were there during the 90s, it puts another point of view across as to what was going on at the club. Probably the best information on that period I've ever read. And so if you're old enough to remember it, well worth the read. If you're too young to remember, buy it. It's still a great read. You want to know what happened in your club before you were there, this is a warts and all book. And you can get 30% off during April if you visit www.mindingmyownfootballbusiness.com. You can get, as I say, through that website only, you can get 30% off. And it's a bit of a good discount for April, that. Justin, just to end on it there, says, hope we're not as negative as we were against Man City. Justin, you know me, one of my bugbears this season, and I have to temper what I say because of the sort of season that it is, but would the real Leicester City stand up? That Leicester City that went and played Man United We could beat anybody with that team. We were sublime. We deserved it. We outplayed them. And then you got the Leicester team that turned up against Man City. You could argue very much that, well, it was Man City that didn't let us play. That's a very good point. But did West Ham in this fixture at the start of the season not let us play? Did Fulham not let us play? Justin, you're agreeing with me there. This is it. There's no consistency. And I know, I just realised this top looked more orange than red. And I know that it's hard to be consistent this season. And it's not just us, it's other teams. Who'd have thought 10-man Leeds would have beaten Man City 2-1? It is one of those seasons. But to be honest with you, I don't give a shit about any other team. I give a shit about Leicester. And I know when we played in that Great Escape year, that we went out and fought for every game. Can we honestly say that sometimes our team has gone out and fought for the game this season? Did we against Fulham in the first game? Did we against West Ham? We've had some really, really iffy performances. We've also had, of course, some excellent performances. Fingers crossed, and we're going to need it today, that we are going to get the excellent performance out of the team. No Maddison, no Perez, no Choudhury. How will that affect us? Time will tell. We're going to be back at about 4:40, 4:35 post-match show. There'll be me, Brad, and X-Fox, this time Julian Watts. We'll be back then. I'll be back. Just under 15 minutes to kick off. It's the Premier League. It's West Ham United in 6th place versus Leicester City in 3rd place. Will we still be 3rd at the end of the 90 minutes? Well, come back and join us afterwards, and let's hope we are. See you then. Stay safe, guys. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.